Hello, Sam Blasco here for SCM. In this video, we will attempt to show what this machine is capable of, in 10 minutes or less, no less, with a nice table to show for our efforts by the time we are done using all the stations. Please note this was performed on a European version of the machine, so we will not be showing any dado function. I had to travel to Italy to film this because that is where SCM's maestro of video, Luciano Gerette Venerucci, is located. Traveling to Europe was a real burden for me, but I am dedicated, and someone had to do this. As proof of my hardship, I want it stated that I put on 5 pounds during the filming of this. And the only reason I bring any of this up is to inform you that in the USA, we bring in this machine with a dado setup. You can use any standard dado stack up to 3/4 of an inch wide. During the first few minutes, you will see me unpacking the machine, cleaning it, and installing some components, like the mortiser attachment, outrigger and squaring frame, extra support table, separate miter gauge, along with various and sundry items and components. There is a hole in the table for the lock rod, which locks the arbor and allows you to work the nut on or off. I would like to note that the threads always tighten against the direction the teeth are rotating for any cutting tool. This keeps the hardware from loosening during operation, and because of this, there is no need to over-tighten the nut. With a riving knife, you would want to keep the leading edge of the knife approximately 1/8 of an inch from the teeth of the blade. And the rough lumber for our table. We will start by squaring up and dimensioning our plywood top. One thing to note here is when working on a slider, for most things, you just keep making left turns with the material, allowing you to do your rip cuts and cross cuts one right after the other with each part, rather than having to rip everything first, restage, and come back and cross cut everything next, like on a conventional table saw. Next, we take our leg stock to the joiner to flatten 2 faces and square 1 corner. You'll note here we are demonstrating the OSHA-approved American-style guard, not the European guard. All SCM joiners and joiner planers for the USA will come standard with this type of guard. Once we mark our square corner, we will be ready for the planer and final dimensioning. This machine has the SCM Xylent head installed on the joiner planer. The Tersa cutter head system is also available. Both are upgraded systems that offer unique advantages. Talk to your representative to see which system is best for you. uniform thickness on the rest of our pieces, we want to put a square and flat edge on the boards. And once you have a square corner on something, you can pretty much go anywhere in 90% of woodworking projects. Here we are showing an alternative to using a joiner for that first flat and square edge. We have a sliding table here, so we can do straight line cutting in one pass, thus avoiding the 2 to 6 or even more passes this would require using a joiner. Now that we have square and flat edges on our stock, we can set the rip fence and do some parallel cutting to the widths we need. This can also be done on the sliding table with some simple jigs or, in some cases, more sophisticated positioners, because once we have a straight edge, we really only need 2 points in space equidistant from the slider's edge to achieve a parallel cut. However, we will save that demonstration for another day. Now that we have the widths we want on the remaining parts, we can cross-cut them to their intended dimensions, or in the case of our moldings, put them off to the side to be shaped a little later. When it comes to cross-cutting, I really prefer to thrust cut. That is, the piece to be cut is between me and the fence, thus I am the clamp, keeping things tight to the fence as they are being cut. Next, it is time to set up the shaper for the tenons, and all we are really looking to do at this point is round the corners so they'll fit nicely with our mortises to be cut a little later. Then, while we have the shaper stuff installed, we will change the profile and cut our moldings. This molding will be a 2-stage molding, which means we will use 2 different setups to achieve the shape we want. For tooling, a multi-profile insert set like we are using here is a great way to get into shaper tooling for those new to a shaper. Here you can see one of the biggest advantages to using a shaper instead of a router table. We only need one pass, rather than having to do multiple passes to get to our desired depth of cut. Time to install the mortise bit and set up to cut the mortises. We only need to mark one leg for the corners and one of everything else. Then we set the stops and height and do a run at each setting. This is a very efficient and easy way to cut multiple mortises that are extremely accurate and repeatable, all the while maintaining a nice ergonomic body position. Plus, you get a larger range and depth than you can achieve with handheld systems. Here you can see how easy it is to do repetitive crosscuts with the slider. Set a stop away from the blade and rock on. Glue up time. Hustle and clamp. Every now and then swearing and yelling at yourself as you screw up the order, hoping you get it right before the glue starts to set. We didn't show the dry run here to make sure that it will all fit as intended, which I highly suggest, by the way, as practice doesn't necessarily make perfect, but it does cut down on the amount of swearing needed to complete the task. While the glue sets up, we'll cut the miters for the corner supports and trim moldings, and then we can install those a little bit later. One last detail is to add a decorative edge to our tabletop, which we will do using the sliding table and the shaper together. Remember, with a slider, you just keep making left turns. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed our demonstration of this powerful Minimax combination machine. If you are a one-person shop, tight on space, or both, this is the greatest way to maximize your space without having to sacrifice industrial quality machining tools. Thank you for watching. I have to leave Italy now, return to my shop, and go on a diet for a while. Ciao.